Well, this here episode is sponsored by Squarespace.
What are you up to? You up to something? Because you've been acting a bit weird for like a couple of weeks now. Hello, you alright? What are you... You're hiding something. You're hiding... What is that? What is this anyway? Why are you hiding this? This is the box of the Patreon bits that they sent me. All the robots and stuff that I was going to use in the big bot shop build. My collaboration with the patrons that I've been meaning to do for like ages, and I couldn't find the bits. Why are you hiding this? Are you trying to lose me patrons? Is that what you're trying to do? You're trying to make me lose patrons? Yeah, but they're my patrons, and who buys all the chicken nuggets? Me. So I guess we're making the bot shop. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to episode 83. Today we are going to be making the bot shop, which is basically a robot repair shop for the town of Respite, which is my made-up town. This is a collaboration that I set my patrons. Basically, they sent me little bead bots and heads, robot heads and robot arms and weapons and stuff, and they sent it all to me from all over the world, and I'm going to include it in my build. Much like what I did with the big wing trades, if you remember that. I'll probably show you a clip. So we want to do that again, because that was like one of my favourite builds, and I've been meaning to do this for a long time, and I just, I couldn't find the bits, could I? Somebody doesn't like chicken nuggets anymore. What? We ain't getting bird's eye for a bit. Smart price. So what to expect in the episode today? Well, we're going to be designing the bot shop using this ancient technology called pen and paper, and then we're going to be using old bits of toys and junk, and we're going to build the thing. I'm going to be making a giant robot arm that's going to go on the side of the building. That's going to be a bit of a chore. There's going to be story time with Bill where I paint the thing and talk about the lore behind the build and, you know, all that juicy stuff that you seem to like so much. I'm going to show you a really good way of doing hazard stripes and caution signs and danger signs on your builds. And then we're going to actually add all of the Patreon bits to the build and just see how it looks. Now, I'm going to warn you, it's going to be a long episode today because the build took me quite a while and there's quite a lot of steps to go through. But if you're interested in seeing someone make something kind of like, you know, nice out of bits of junk you find lying around, then stick around. You know the deal. You know the deal with this channel. But that's what's going to happen today. So I'm just going to get on with it because there's quite a lot to do. No, smart price. I mean it. Smart price chicken nuggets make your fingernails fall out. Luckily, you haven't got any fingernails, so... You're all right. I'm just going to get on with it. So today we are going to be designing a bot shop, like a bot repair shop. A shop where you would repair your bot. The bot shop. You know, not bots as in botties. Not where you go to repair your botty if you're from Essex. You know, lots of people repair their botties these days. Usually by adding more botty on the original. Anyway, bot shop. This is a repair shop for bots. And basically I just did a little Google search for like garage repair, like interesting garages and, you know, like auto shops and things like that. Because I couldn't really think of a kind of design that I liked. But then I remembered this is Respite. Everything is kind of built using something else. I'm thinking maybe like a spacecraft hull or something like that. I don't know. Let's just doodle and see what we come up with. So I had a little think, and I think, yeah, it's going to be some kind of hole, like a spaceship hole, with a giant robot arm attached to it, I think. You know, like a giant Titan's arm that's like this guy's, or this girl, whoever owns the shop's pride and joy. Like they've found this giant robot arm and they've stuck it on the side of their shop like, yeah, look at me and my giant robot arm. Look, come here for all your robot needs. I mean, they think something along the lines of that. But, yeah. And a little shelter, maybe a little workbench. Something like that, I guess. I should probably do a better drawing of it though, really. You're probably wondering, where do I get this really cool little circle drawing tool thing? Basically, I found a little UFO in my back garden and it had this on the front of it, like a door to the UFO. So I thought, you know, I'm having that. I could use that to draw circles. I threw the rest away. Or you could go Amazon and buy it. I'm so facetious. I'm sorry. So I'm having a little think of how I can make this thing look like a spacecraft hull. I mean, it may be windows, I'm not sure about that. It's going to have a little tail fin on the top, and maybe some big like jet thruster things, like rocket booster things on the back. I don't know, I'll have a little think, and I'll get back to you. Now, I know it's going to be really cool to have a giant robot arm on the side of the building, but I just think that it's going to take forever to build. I mean, I'm still going to do it, but it's probably going to be the hardest part, the whole build, basically building a giant Titan arm just to stick on the side for decoration. But you know me, I'll probably do that anyway, just because, you know, I'm obsessive and weird. But yeah, I think I'm going to have to build a giant robot arm. So as I mentioned, this is a patron collab. The patrons of this channel sent me all little robot parts that they didn't want, or maybe they did want and they just sent them to me anyway, so I can destroy them and cover them in oil wash. But you know, basically, once this thing is built, I'm going to populate the whole thing with tons and tons of robot parts. Kind of like my big wing trades build I did a while ago, if you remember that. Where it's not, you know, once it's built, I can just populate it, like fill the shelves. It's stock up. It'll be fun. Stick around. And we're going to call it the bot shop because I couldn't think of any other name for it. So there we go. I've only got to build it now. Oh God. So this video is sponsored by Squarespace. Now, Squarespace is a website where you go to make websites. Now, if you have no idea how to make a website, you don't know how to deal with a HTML, is it HTML? I'm not sure. And you just want to make a website about things like, you know, like a pickle website, for example. Like, yeah, like that, like Pickle Perfection. That's it, Bill. Click there. If you just want to make a website that's quick and easy and clean and nicely designed, then go to Squarespace. I made this website in like, you know, it must have been like 0.5 seconds. Maybe a little bit longer, I'm not sure, but it was really easy and it looks pretty good. And I will add stuff to it at some point. But yeah, if you want to make your own website, there's a sale going on at Squarespace. There's a little link down below. Go and have a look. So the bulk of our building is going to be this Royal Mail cardboard tube. I mean, there was supposed to be something in there, but they delivered it to me like this. You know, I'm only joking. I deal with Royal Mail on a daily basis, and I feel bad making fun of them because, you know, I do see them every day, and it's getting pretty awkward. Now, only one half of this hole to be kind of like jagged and destroyed, where it's just kind of been salvaged from a scrap heap. You know, kind of like that. Just better. Do better, Bill. I'm going to use this foam board as a base, and as I'm doing it, I'm kind of regretting using it. I don't know why I use foam board for bases. I should probably use something else. And I'm also thinking, do I want sorry, this glue gun takes forever. Do I want bases on my models? Or I do on my models, but on my terrain? Because, you know, you can't really put terrain next to each other if there's a base, like it gets in the way. I don't know, I don't really like bases on terrain. I'm kind of thinking maybe I'll just cut around the model after I'm done. I don't know. We'll see later on. I'm not that big into terrain bases. I might have to go back and cut off all the terrain bases on the whole of the respite build. So I'm going to use this little kiddie's rolling pin as the basis of my robot arm. And now I'm going to give it a really good sand, because plastic, I mean all plastics, you really should sand before you stick them to other plastics, or if you want to paint them, because otherwise there's just nothing for the paint or the glue to grip onto. So So we need to make some jet boosters, rocket thrusters, rocket boost. I always sound like a little kid when I say rocket boosters. That doesn't sound right. But basically thrusters at the back. I'm going to use these things. I'm not sure what they are. Let me know down below. Now to make these things sticky and take paint, I'm going to give them a little flambe with my little blowtorch. Sometimes burning the plastic helps glue and paint stick to it. I'm not really sure of the science of it, but it just makes it more susceptible to paint and glue and scams. This is the top of a spray bottle. We haven't used a spray bottle in a while, so I thought I might as well just, I think it's the only one I got left actually. People stopped giving them to me, which is kind of a good thing, but you know, I kind of need them now. So, you know, I might need some more. What is this thing? I don't know what this is. This thing is the coolest bit of plastic I've found in my bits. Someone must have sent this to me, but it's going to be obviously like a little drain pipe or something, but look at it. I don't know what it is. This is a piece of a crane from a toy crane. I've been using it for like girders and, not girders, what are they called? Struts, I don't know, you know, poles with little zigzag poles, like that basically. And this is the section of the video where I go crazy with kids craft foam. Now, people have asked me what size is your craft foam. I don't know, it's about that size. I'm holding up my fingers, but I'm realising this is just voiceover. Look, it's basically, I get like bundles of kids craft foam sheets, and they come in all sorts of sizes. Just look, eyeball it. You know, this isn't science, it's science fiction. And this is basically what the building's going to look like, just a lot more messy. But look, that's the basic shape of the building. This is the best part. Once that bit's done, we can add details like this little bit of hair curler. Basically, I like to melt them and flatten them out and cut them up into little details, like the skeleton of a space hole kind of poking through these metal. I can't speak properly today. This is probably not a good day for me to do voiceover. I'm going to do it anyway because deadlines. Now I need a little door for the back office. Oh look, there we go, there's a little door. I made this thing ages ago, I think for like a greebly kind of like example. I don't know, but I found it on the side and it's a perfect little door. I think it's made out of an old key ring. So for the floors of the interior, I'm going to use these little coffee stirrers. I like wooden planks. I know it doesn't really make sense in this kind of scrappy, rusty sci-fi world that there's wooden planks, but I just like wooden planks. I like the texture of it. I like laying them down. They look nice. And it adds a bit of variance. So can't put it off forever. Let's work on this robot arm. These are some more hair curlers. I'm just going to add loads of little details and bulk this arm out a bit using lids from shampoo bottles and things like that. Just try and get like a forearm shape. When in doubt, just stick a load of crap on it. That's my motto, really. That's my whole channel. This is a paper straw, just in case you was wondering. So I'm always on the lookout for nice textured plastic, and this stuff was mentioned in my Discord, my Patreon Discord. Someone said this stuff had cool patterns on it. I think it's like roof liner or something. I don't know. But this is a piece from a PC fan filter thing, and this is a shim. I know what it's called. It's called a shim. I've got loads of shims. You've seen me use shims. I use shims all the time. This is a conduit pipe wire thing. This is what you put wires in to protect them from hamsters. I've only got a little bit of this stuff left. I need to get more of this stuff. I should probably put it on my Amazon wish list, along with all that Hero Quest stuff that I didn't realise I stuck on there. But don't worry about that, you don't have to buy me Hero Quest. But maybe you can buy me some of that conduit. This is going to be like a little elbow pad for this robot, so he doesn't hurt his elbows. Hello again, it's me. This is the part of the video where I ask you to like and share and subscribe and all that stuff that helps the channel grow. But if you really like the channel and you really like what I'm doing, consider joining Patreon. It's a link down below. It's basically a way to keep this channel going. You're basically funding this channel and you're essentially a little producer. You're chucking money towards the channel to see it be made. You could be an executive producer of this show. How about that? You can put that on your CV. If you apply for a job in film or TV, you can say, look, I'm already an executive producer of Bill Making Stuff. and then who's Bill making stuff, and then you have to explain it to them, and then you probably wouldn't get a job. But you can probably just keep that bit to yourself. But honestly, the way YouTube ad revenue is at the moment, it's not enough to keep the channel going. And I do get sponsorship money from the sponsors, but it's not enough for me to not go out there and look for a real job, in McDonald's or something. So, basically I need Patreon so I can not work in McDonald's and make these videos that hopefully you enjoy. So, it's a win-win. And you get some chicken nuggets. Is it weird that cats eat chicken nuggets? Is it weird that cat eats? So there we go. I mean, that's the easy part of the arm. I probably need to build a hand, which is, as we all know, hands are hard. Now, this thing did have a robot hand at the end, and I've lost the robot hand, which would have been really handy. But I'm just going to use that thing as like the palm of the hand. I wonder where that hand went. So these are little black plastic tubes. I don't know what to call them. These were sent to me in my PO box by someone, and they are the most fragile things in existence. Look, they just explode. I salvaged what I could from those, and they're going to be the basis of my fingers. So I'm going to need an armature inside these fingers, and I think I'm going to use this garden wire because it's the season for garden wire in the pound shop. It's a good time to forage garden wire. This is that time of year, and this stuff's pretty tough, and it looks pretty good when you can see it kind of showing through the little knuckle joints and that. I'll just show you. See, just like that. So this is an officially branded permanent marker fine point pen, which is basically a Sharpie knockoff, but this end bit here is going to be the fingertips. Now I've got a box full of old plastic pens that are run out, some that haven't even run out yet, but they're really good for like tubes. You always need tubes. We all need tubes. And there we have a basic robot arm with 3 fingers and a thumb. Look, I'm not making 4 fingers and a thumb. That's just completely pointless, unnecessary. I mean, do we even need 4 fingers? I don't use my little finger for anything. Oh wait, yes I do. So we're going to bulk out these fingers. I keep wanting to say fingers with a TH, like thingers. Like I always used to say think rather than think. And it's kind of like I've trained myself out of saying things that actually begin with F. Anyway, back to the video. We're bulking out the fingers. Now this is purple and green. It wasn't intentionally supposed to look like an Evangelion arm. That robot from Evangelion. It wasn't intentional. But it kind of looks a bit like it. Isn't it nice? These are wooden robot knuckles, or hemispherical wooden beads, but tonight, Matthew, they are robot knuckles. No one would get that, unless you're old, like me, and 90% of my audience, so yes, you probably will get it. Now it is half term, which means all of my kids are home, so you probably hear the odd squeal and yell and "feed me" coming from the background. Don't worry about it, just ignore it. Don't worry, don't need to call anyone. And there we have a robot arm for the side of the building. It was as hard as I thought it would be, but there we go. It looks nice, doesn't it? Now I went to a charity shop and I found this little game of stacking chairs for £2, and there's lots of cool little bits of plastic in there. But before I use a game for models, I like to try it out to see, it could be a really good game that I don't want to ruin. Let's just chop it up, I think. Now this is going to be a little workbench, but I want to measure it up against Mr. 28mm to see if it's the right scale, and it isn't, so I need to chop the legs down a little bit. Now trying to chop all these legs at the same height is practically impossible unless you use like measurements and rulers and stuff, but I'm not going to do that. And I think that will do for a little workbench. I think that's going to go right there. There we go. Now we need some shelves inside this store. I mean, the store is going to be like a mess, but we do need some shelves on the wall. It means we can add more mess in there vertically. So I just saw this little bit, and I think it's from an old like Nerf gun from the pound shop, like one of those cheap little plastic Nerf guns. That's going right there. Nice little bit of detail. And we're going to add this little thing as a little extra rocket booster. This is from a vape juice bottle lid, but it looks kind of boostery. Don't smoke, kids. Honestly, don't smoke. This is some baking powder I'm going to use to help cure the glue, basically. I've run out of CA accelerator. I might have to stick that on my wish list as well. Look at that pointless animation. This is aluminium foil, or I don't know how you Americans say it, but we say aluminium. We're going to use this to make little junk piles, because this whole place is going to be surrounded by junk piles, because it's like a scrapyard for robots, so I figured junk piles. Plus, who doesn't like a junk pile? So do you remember earlier when I was talking about I don't really like bases for my terrain? Well, now I'm trying to cut away the excess base and have it kind of shaped to these little junk piles, which is very tricky and looks a bit weird at the moment, but hopefully when it's painted you won't notice that big giant lip around the edge. But I think that looks better already. Let's get my little junk pile box out. I have a little box under my desk. Whenever I have any cut-offs or anything that I don't really want to throw away, I stick it in this box and I save it for junk piles. I have a junk pile box. And there we go, that is it without the greeblies, which probably means it's nearly time for a time of greeblies, or as we like to call it here, Whoa, might have jumped the gun there a little bit. It's not technically a greebly. This is part of that crane. We need to put some letters on the front of our shop. We need some signage. So this is going to be a little frame to hang a little sign there. And these are some bits from another bag of plastic I got from the charity shop. I'm not sure what they are. I think they were like a little train play set. But let's make some signs. This is my tub of letters. I know that because it says letters on the top in big writing, and it has loads of letters inside. Now, I want to make a little sign that says parts. Oh, there we go. Well done, Bill. And on the front here, we want it to say bot shop. Now, this B is too big, so I've cut it down, and I'm going to stick it back together again. And it gives it kind of like a little ramshackled look, which looks much better. Now, I couldn't find a H, so I'm going to make a H using this chair from a pointless chair stacking game. I do not recommend. And there we go, that's the bot shop sign. It looks a bit like a tacky vintage craft fair sign, but that's alright, it works. And these are 2mm hemispherical rhinestone things that we're going to use as rivets. Cue the rivet montage. Here we go. Well, there's a day I'll never get back, but it is half term, so I guess it was a day away from the kids, which I guess is a result. And it is time to paint. We're going to do what we always do with big buildings. We're going to use this brown acrylic paint, water it down a lot until it's kind of like a wash, but not quite a wash, and just cover the whole thing. Gets a bit messy. But you don't want to hear that nonsense. Paint time with Bill is boring time with Bill, and boring time with Bill is story time with Bill. To those of you who don't know, this is the part of the episode where I talk about the lore behind the building, the story, how it fits in this imaginary world that I've made up in my head. Don't leave, please. So this is the Bot Shop, the one shop in Respite where you can go to sell old bot parts, you can buy a new bot, you can get your bot repaired, or you can get weapons for your Bangarang bot, which is like an arena game where bots fight each other, which is like the main bit of entertainment in Respite. So the owner of the Bot Shop is named Handler Hank. Hank because that's his name, and Handler because he's an engineer. It's another name for an engineer. Everyone in Respite tends to be named after their profession. Now, Handler Hank tends to hoard. He likes to hoard all sorts of parts. He never knows what parts are going to be good for anything, kind of like me in a way. But he's hoarded so much rusty junk, and it's kind of spilling out of his doors and all over the ground surrounding his building. The anti-ruster protesters have accused him of being a ruster. You know, they think he loves rust so much. He must be worshipping the rust god Ferrimar. He must be a ruster. They're idiots, obviously. But they won't do anything about it because he's the only guy in town that can fix robots. The building itself is made using an old spacecraft hull and a giant robot arm. The spacecraft hull came from a spaceship that crashed there a long time ago. There's not a lot of building supplies in Respite, so people tend to make things using whatever scrap they can. And the robot arm, well, there's a bit of a story about where the robot arm came from. There's a few little rumours and fables going around. Now, many question if the robot arm is real or it's a sculpture of some kind. Hank knows that it's real. He found it one time in the wastes, and he managed to get a lot of people to help drag it back to town just to put as a display piece on his shop. You know, he thought he'd bring all the customers in. Plus, he kind of loves it. Who doesn't want a giant arm attached to the building? Now, ginormous robots and titans are a thing in Gutterlands. There are robots roaming the wastes, destroying towns and people, and sometimes just wandering around aimlessly. The war's over, they're not really sure what to do with themselves. Now, Landy Busterdale, the local pub owner, who likes to go and explore the rusty peaks from time to time to salvage up stuff and hunt creatures, says he once saw a giant red titan missing a right arm. Now, the arm looked to be the right size for this arm attached to the Bot Shop, and Landy tried to convince Hank to kind of put the arm back where he found it. He thinks this robot is looking for its arm, and one day he may come to Respite to reclaim it. There is currently a petition in the town of Respite with Mr. Mayor to try and get Hank to return the arm where he found it from. And he refuses to do that. He's very stubborn, he won't do it. Plus, you know, he's already got a sign attached to it now, so he doesn't really want to take it down. And it's a good little bit of a good talking point. Gets people coming to his shop. He just doesn't want to drag it all the way back there, to be honest. But that's the story of the Bot Shop. So I was watching a YouTube channel the other day called Greg Johnson. It's a really good channel. I'll put a link down below. And he was using this washi tape to make some props with. And I'm like, I hate painting hazard stripes. So I figured I'd use some of this stuff to try and add some hazard stripes. There are also little other tapes in there with danger and caution and keep out. I'm going to use a bit of each, and it worked out really well. Obviously, use a little bit of matte Mod Podge to kind of keep the thing on there, and it should be good. I mean, it looks really good so far. Hopefully it will last. I'm obviously going to weather it with a bit of oil paint, but go check out Greg Johnson. I really enjoy his channel, but for now, let's dry brush this thing. I haven't done a bit of dry brushing in a while. Now, I almost forgot, and I'm pretty sure you've probably forgotten, but this is a patron collab. So these are all the little bot parts that patrons have sent me. Look at them. I'm really impressed with these little bits. I mean, there's so many little cool parts there with so much detail that I really couldn't be bothered to do myself. But no, good job, patrons. Really good. Now let's stick them in the build. Now I'm really happy with how this is looking. Look at it. I could never make something that detailed without all of my patrons' help. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to join Patreon and take part in collaborations like this, there's a link down below. And thank you again, patrons. I mean, honestly, I hope you enjoy seeing your pieces in one of my pieces. That sounds quite rude. I didn't mean for that to sound rude. So here we are, the bot shop. I think this is my favourite build so far. What do you think? I mean, it does help that the patrons sent me all these really cool little bits to populate the shop, but I don't know, I just really like it. I'm also quite sure that I don't like bases on terrain anymore. I kind of like it like this, because then I can stick like another piece of terrain right next to it. You know, it takes up less space on the shelf. I want you lot to kind of dispute that in the comments down below. I want you to let me know, bases or no bases. I think I'm going to go back and cut all the bases of the other respite builds, and then maybe show you it all together in the next video. But now I'm off to yet another convention. I'm off to the UK Gaming Expo up in Brum or Birmingham, which is tomorrow if this video goes out today, which doesn't mean anything to you. But if you see this video before the UK Gaming Expo on Saturday and Sunday, come and say hello. Especially my patrons. I want to do a little patron meetup. And I think that's it. So glamour shots coming up now. Anything else from you? What are we having for dinner tonight? I'll see you next time. So here we are. Here is the bot shop. I've been meaning to make this for a while, and you lot sent me all your bits and pieces quite a while ago. I hope this is kind of scratched that itch that you've had. Like, I'm really happy with it. I think it's one of the best builds I've ever done. What do you think? Let me know down below. I have to say though, it's really hard getting all the little bits inside, so I should probably do that before I put the roof on top next time, if I was to ever do this again. But this could be the last building of Respite, so I might move on to like Ruster Camps or the Meat Mountain, something like that. Patrons, let me know if you'd like me to move on to Meat Mountain or Ruster Camps, Ruster Towns. I'm not sure, but I think we're pretty much done with Respite at the moment. I might stick them all together for the next video and show it off, but yeah, what do you think? I'm actually genuinely quite happy, despite how my voice sounds. I mean, that's just how my voice sounds, really. I could be a bit more upbeat. I'm really happy. No, it's not really convincing. So these are my patrons. A big special extra super duper thanks to my patrons this episode, because obviously you helped me make the build. If you'd like to join Patreon, link down below. I love you all!